lies the Gamebred Academy. Gamebred is one of the leading mixed martial arts facilities in the country and has built a reputation for producing some of the toughest fighters in Australia. UFC veteran Brendan O'Reilly is the head coach and leader of the pro team here at Gamebred. This gym has served as a base for Brendan, who has trained all around the world, and he has tailored the facility to prepare to take on the very best.
I started boxing when I was like probably 15 years old. I was playing rugby league a lot and started boxing when I was 15 and enjoyed that sort of training, enjoyed, you know, like the challenge of it. And I was doing rodeo at the time as well in my late teens and probably thought I was the toughest guy in the world and wasn't. Somehow I got offered, I can't even remember how, I probably had a month of grappling training, got offered an MMA fight and took the fight and won, and then it sort of snowballed from there, and each fight that I would win I would take it a little more seriously and a lot more professionally, and now it's sort of like led me all the way to the UFC. Gamebred came about, I founded the team in 2010 and it was like unofficial. It wasn't necessarily a gym per se, it was more a team of just fighters. And back then I didn't see myself necessarily as the coach, but I was more like the senior figure. So in a way I coached the guys, but I just saw myself more as their leader, and we just trained together and push each other, and then we'd all fight you know, on various shows around Australia. And that went really well, and we were doing well and winning some titles. Then there was so much attention from people that wanted to train with us that in 2012 I opened the gym, Gamebred Academy, in a smaller facility than where we're at now. It was a really small operation, but it was a really tight group, and we were notorious for hard training and producing guys that were, you know, that were good. And then from there we upsized to the facility that we're in now, which encompasses you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, CrossFit. It's been a slow process, and it's been like a massive roller coaster ride and a hard process, but the biggest thing that we've always had is that work ethic.
Long-time training partner and mentor to O'Reilly is fight team coach Simon Clow.
You're not learning unless you're tapping, you're not learning unless you're getting punched in the face. You're not learning unless your training partners are beating you up. Like, you need to be training with people that are causing you serious grief on a daily basis. It's a struggle, but that's what makes it worthwhile. We know what good MMA is and what good MMA isn't. We've been involved with the sport for a while. I really think it's down to that, and that's the difference between someone just, you know, old mate bikey going and setting up an MMA gym and having a bunch of tough dudes knuckling on, and having people that like enjoy the art in what we do.
Ryan Dunstan is a former pro fighter himself, and now one of the lead coaches at Gamebred.
Facilities are here. It's one of the best, you know, the best gyms in Australia, if you ask me. Everyone loves to be here just because the people who are running it. That's the heart of it. It's, you know, it's not just one person behind the scenes. There's a few key people, and it's because of that. That's why it's such a popular gym.
Every day, the gym receives multiple requests to join the fight team from people with no experience, hoping to become a pro fighter.
It's usually the guys that come in and say, hey, I'm going to be the next big thing, that don't stick around very long at all. It's a skill, like it's an art, like it really is an art, and it's about kind of polishing that art over a really long period of time. 100% what people imagine a career in mixed martial arts is, from what they see on TV to what a career in mixed martial arts really is so different. You know, like you can't even explain it. You can't put it into words. They just have to experience it. So the attrition rate's pretty high, and that's not, you know, through anyone getting beaten up or this gym being harder than any other gym. It's just purely because the sport, it's a tough sport, and I think it's not even physical, it's more a mental challenge, you know, for a lot of people. So I hear guys all the time that say, oh,
they've got no experience and they say, I want to make it to the UFC because I want to do this for my family and provide for my family. And I'm like, if you want to provide for your family, like, go get a job, you know, like a 9-to-5 job and just work, because the chances of making Conor McGregor money is, man, it's a 1 in a million shot. So I think if you're chasing money and that's all you're doing this sport for, you're not going to last, because, man, there's easier ways to make money, that's for sure.
Before a fighter can represent Gamebred, they must prove their readiness here in the gym.
Some gyms out there, oftentimes with coaches that aren't as experienced, that are just going to throw their fighters in there too soon, that aren't really, like, haven't been pressure tested, so to speak. That damage to the fighter psychologically or to their career it's a big thing, you know. It's hard for a fighter to get off on the wrong foot and get a few losses in the row. It doesn't look good on their record, but also psychologically it's gonna be a bit of a burden to them. For us, you know, here at Gamebred, we pressure test our guys a lot, and that doesn't mean that they're going to get injured or get beaten up, but it means that they're going to have to get used to handling the pressures of a fight.
You got to get it right here. You can't get it right in the cage because there's too many things going on. Get out there with the crowd going, the lights on. The referee says you're ready to fight. You know, you're not going to get it right. It's going to be a blur. You break them here. You break them here so that they can figure out for themselves whether they want to do it or not. You have to game test them here so that when they get into that fight, they felt that pressure before and they're not going to crumble. Yeah, you have to do that here. And I think a lot of the gyms, some of them don't know about that pressure because some of the coaches have never been put in that spot in their lives. Yet they're putting their students out there to be put into that. I mean, you're playing with people's lives when you're putting them into that cage.
And we make sure the guys are pretty well pressure tested, especially for their first fight. If people watch it on TV and they see the physical side of the actual fight, and they don't realise sitting in the locker room out the back before you walk out is what breaks a lot of people, because they're in their own head. And the biggest, you know, your greatest opponent in fighting is yourself and your own mind.
More young fighters are joining the Gamebred family every day, and Queensland has no shortage of young men and women looking for an opportunity.
The aim is to succeed and achieve at 21, just like bringing brothers out days in the sound. Captivate the masses, the focus go down. Do it for the strong, we do it for the weak.
It's always going to be good, our local circuit for our amateur MMA. That's always on the rise. There's always good fight shows, so we're always developing good talent. Queensland, we're always filled with a whole heap of savages here.
We're starting to get guys coming in who could have, you know, played football at a really high level, or who could have played AFL at a really high level, and who are really starting to show us what that kind of level of athleticism can bring to an art form. When I first started, there were like not that many guys that were great at MMA in Australia. There were a few, but now we've got this whole crop of guys coming through who are amazing, you know, and they're really starting to show us some really amazing stuff and interpret things in their individual way and do amazing things with the sport and the art.
Some really exciting prospects here, some young guys starting out their career. They've had a couple of fights, and they're showing some like extreme potential. You know, like some of these guys, they're in such the early days of their own career personally, but I'm using them as like main training partners for myself now because their level is just that high. They're improving so quickly. I think Gamebred's only going to continue to produce like some of the country's top mixed martial artists. The thing that I'm most proud of is these are guys that they're really tough fighters and they always consistently put on great fights, but they're also like lovely people and you know, good members of society, which is what we're really big on producing here as well. I want people to be a world champion in mixed martial arts, but also just a great person, someone that other people want to be around.
Like, I think we're not trying to teach people like a paint by numbers how to be an MMA fighter. We're trying to make people be the best people they can be. And as a consequence, they get real good at fighting.
5 years from now, I'd just like to see a big membership base and some of the younger guys that are here now up where I think they will be, which is in the UFC and potentially chasing world titles up there. That's how much I believe in these guys.
Queensland leads the way in developing the next generation of Australian talent. And as the sport grows, both integrated and game-bred continue to produce contenders, all chasing the dream of making it to the octagon.
Fox League welcomes you to the weekend with a Friday night